All right, so this here is my 95 S10 that I'm building. It's a regular cab, regular box, short box, whatever you like to call it. And this is what we have done so far on this project of mine. So it started out, like I said, as a 3D3. It had a TKO 600 transmission. It was fun. It was great. But like I said, I bought it for the rolling chassis, so it's a factory frame, no modifications up front here till we get to the back. And the back half has been cut, notched, and narrowed, and 4-link rear suspension, and mini tubbed back box there. The guy before me did a great job on that. It is absolutely immaculate back there. There's always room for improvements, obviously. I mean, it was only making 360 horsepower or something like that without the nitrous on the 3D3. So back end might need work for this power plant, but we'll get to that when we get to it. So I tore all that stuff out of the engine bay, cleaned all the carbureted stuff out of it, pretty much stripped it back down to nothing, and then I went on the hunt for an engine. Ended up, I know a couple good people in the city, in the car scene, lots of great people here. A friend of mine was selling his engine that he had prior in his car. It had then broken. He had then rebuilt it and put it up for sale. And it happened to be perfect timing where I was looking for an engine to put in this truck, so it all worked out great. It is a LS 6-liter. It's a mild built engine, so I mean pistons, rods, crank, factory heads on it, upgraded springs, and all the valves and everything are all done on this. It's a really nice stout engine. It also is a 408 cubic inch. I then went ahead and started building off of that. So I started with getting the engine in. I had ICT billet engine mounts, but it didn't really work with where the 383 was sitting before. So like I said, I ended up cutting all the frame rails off and rebuilding it to solid engine mounts off the side of the block. There's not much room in these S10s, and I needed to set the engine back as far as I could, so I couldn't do a rear and front engine plate, but I built some pretty stout solid mount engine mounts off the side of the block. I think it'll be plenty with the transmission and the transmission mount I have in the rear. I think it'll be great. Anyways, started there, got the engine in place, and then after that it was just more picking away at, you know, getting parts and all the good stuff. I started with the hot side, get the hot side all built. I built the hot side from scratch. I got the headers, just a cheap set from Performance Weld. They'll probably do just fantastic for what I need. Don't need nothing crazy. I then went ahead, cut the V-bands off of these. They were here. And obviously you can see there isn't much room here in an S10 with an LS on it. And I'm running truck accessories, so I mean that doesn't really fucking help me. But anyways, I ended up cutting the V-bands off and building a custom piece from each side. This side comes down, loops around, and comes back into a Monkey Fab T6 flange with two 2.5-inch inlets. Great stuff, well built, Definitely recommend that guy for a lot of turbo stuff. He builds some great things. And then the other side comes out and goes down and runs underneath the frame rail back up to the other side. Pretty basic. There was a lot to it, obviously. A lot of cutting, a lot of welding, and a lot of time spent making sure that it would all fit within the frame. And then it's just generic stuff like Holly intake, performance. Fuck, the camera just went for a rip. Holy shit. Well, that's okay. She's a GoPro, she can handle it, right? Anyways, we better check the camera angle now. Yeah, no, it's pretty good. So, after that was done, this is the radiator. What am I, American? This is the rad from the 3D3, the 3-core aluminum rad. Should do plenty enough for what we needed to do. It was getting that in place and figuring out how much room I had in front, make sure it was all good to fit in here. After that, it was, you know, wastegates and turbo. Pretty basic, pretty easy. I'm running the fender exit because I've always been a big fan of that and I've always wanted one. And like I said, this is only version 1.0. This shit's all going to change again probably. Who knows? Maybe we'll make some money one day and it'll have a 427 and a fucking tube front end. Who knows? We'll see. All the wiring I did myself. Everything seems to be working. I haven't got the engine running yet. I'm still waiting on some injectors. I have the injectors. I have Bosch 210s from LX Willys. Real easy, good price on those. I'm waiting on injector hats I just ordered from CBM Motorsports out in the States. I have no fucking idea what length I needed. I'm trying to run the wiring harness on the inside underneath the Holley intake. Problem is with the shorter injectors and the Holley rails, the plug doesn't plug onto the injector. And I don't want to, I mean, I could, but I don't want to run the wires. Let's see if I can show you here. I don't want to run the wires out here for the injectors. I want to try to keep everything in there so it's clean and neat and easy and basic. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a big clusterfuck of wires. So yeah, those are coming. Hopefully they'll be here hopefully within the week and we can try and get that done. My plan is by the end of next month to have the fuel system all plumbed in. I still need to go buy everything. Obviously, you know, it's hard to get stuff right now, and I want to make sure that the place that I'm shopping at has everything I need, so I can just buy it all in one and be done with it. This truck here, I'll be running a Aeromotive brushless 5.0 pump. Part number is AE11196. Should do plenty of what I need. Transmission I have. And that was built by Dario here in Calgary. Just a good local guy who has his own race shop and dyno shop. Does great work. So anyways, I'll just give you a little quick tour of what's all been done. I mean, everything's a little, like I said, this S10 is very, very tight. I also had to weld on this bung here onto to the factory water pump. The neck, you come up here, and I didn't want the hose. Those necks on those trucks, they're really big and really angled, and I didn't want that. So I kept it low. I got these nice fittings from Summit Racing. They're Earl's Performance low profile -20 AN fittings with their high performance hose to another low profile fitting that goes into the radiator here, which has got welded on a 20 AN bung there. And then on the bottom side, just your generic basic your hose into your thermostat. 160 Fahrenheit thermostat in this truck, like everybody does. Everything, like I said, is very close and very small, very tight. This is all going to be kind of a trial and error kind of thing, so I guess we'll have to see how it all goes. Just this last week I've been working on the dual Mac valve system. Picked these up on Amazon. They're actually true Mac valves, you can see here. They're not no knockoff ones. They're built by the right people. Good stuff here. Built my own little bracket on the backside here. We'll obviously wired it in to the ECU. All this bundle of wire here is everything coming from the inside, from the ECU coming out to the truck side. Trans brake solenoid, and then I got a bunch of these nice little fuse boxes that you pick up from Princess Auto or wherever you're shopping at. Great little things. So everything is all tucked away in the fender. There's a cover that goes over top of this. But yeah, and then like I said, I've been working on this week. The tank will be inside the truck. This side here's your feed coming in, and this side here's your dump. Yeah, and then it was just putting them together and getting some fittings from inline or new line fittings. They make these nice plastic push-in black 1/4 inch tube 1/8 MPT fittings. These wastegates, they're from Performance. Well, honestly, I don't know whether they're going to work or not. I had to rebuild them already. The O-rings in them are all shit, shot. You get what you pay for, right? And that's just how it is in life. But these will probably upgrade to some better ones. But for now, for this first test, I think they'll be fine. Everything on the P-dub side of things is fucking 1/16. So if you buy one of these thinking you're going to get 1/8 MPT in there, you're not. I had to go down and buy 1/16 MPT to 1/8 MPT adapters. Not easy to find. No one had them but Greg's distributors. So yeah, that was a bit of a bitch, and it kind of makes things, as you can see, bulky and long and big. But yeah, it's going to work, and it doesn't look horrible. So I'll live with that for now. And here's the other one on this side. My booth reference. Obviously, I tapped into the compressor wheel side. Obviously, it runs from there into the bottom of each gate. There's a T here underneath this heat shield. Runs from there, runs across, ties into the other T. Pretty basic. Hopefully, it works. So that's that. I'm running truck accessories, like I said, on this truck. ICT billet relocation mounts. So it uses a LS1 power steering pump and a factory LS truck water pump, and it moves the alternator up and in to within the heads. Everything now is within the heads, so you can run these up and forward headers. I know people don't like these things because they say it's hard to put spark plugs on and it blah blah blah, but I really love the look of the up and forward. I just think it's kind of different, and well, not different, but I think it's cool. And so that was a great kit. With me welding on this -20 AN bung, I had a huge problem, whereas in the alternator should bolt to this top mount flange and go to a bracket which is bolted to the head on the LS. I didn't fathom the idea that how big these -20s are. So anyways, it didn't work. What ended up happening is my good friend Rogan came down from Kamloops, and we were shooting the shit, and he looked at it and he says, well, Billy, why don't you just move the alternator down to the mounting hole for this bracket which mounts to the power steering pump. Holy fuck, what a brilliant idea. Nothing changes. All it changes is your length of your belt. So that's all it changed. So we moved it down, and I just had to go with what was it, a 61 7/8 belt. I just played around with different belt sizes until it worked. It gave me my clearance I needed on the header. It's really, really tight here, obviously, as is with this up here, but it worked out great. It used the same, everything else was the same. All I did was just mount the bolt moved the alternator one bolt hole down where the mount used to be to hold on to the water pump. I don't know if you can see back here, there's a spacer. Well, that spacer used to go in this length here, in this 7-inch span or what, a 6-inch span inch you can see here. I just cut it down to fit on the back side of there, and it worked great. So that solved that issue. Got my power steering lines all built last week. I had some leftover hose sitting here from taking apart the 383, so that was great. Steel braided stuff. Just had to pick up some fucking quick fittings from some stores for that. So that's all plumbed in. It's pretty much ready for fluids. Like I said, I'm just waiting on a couple things like injector cups. And I've been waiting fucking 4 months for gaskets for my Holly high rise. I have no idea what's going on, but that's kind of the front end kit. It's working out good, and I put a 4-port vent steam system on it. Everybody runs just the 2 front ones and blocks the back ones. I had it laying around, so I thought, fuck it, I'm going to use it. So I used it. Obviously, this hose and these fittings right here was $400 and something Canadian. 500 and something US dollars or something like that. But anyways, normally you cut into a factory one, and you can buy these. ICT Billet sells them, Amazon, whoever has a 1/4-inch nipple or 1/8 nipple, and you can run your steam line or your vent line to that. But obviously I'm not going to cut into a nice line like that and run some shit. So I ended up doing is obviously YouTube, which helped me out again. The guys, I've seen a couple guys do it, they tap into the top of your water pump. So I tapped it with drilled it with an R drill bit, and which is a tapered R drill bit, meant for a 1/8 MPT tap. So I tapped a fitting into the top, and I run my steam line just from the exit coming out here, out of the tube, into the top of the water pump. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll figure it out. But that's what I've seen people do, so that's what I did. All the welding on this truck I did. Never welded before in my life, but it actually didn't turn out too bad for a guy who's never TIGged before. I mean, I'll live with it. I mean, it might crack, it might work, but I did back purge, so I got no shear grain on the backside. It's all stainless steel, 304. Real good stuff. I don't know if you can see that part number there at all. Really good quality stuff. It worked really good, really easy to work with. Took me a bit to get used to welding stainless, but the more you do it, like anything, the better you get at it. I ended up buying a welder and just fucking around for a couple days on pieces and learning and testing. I probably enter it for $800, maybe $800. I say it's a little bit high. Yeah, I could have paid the guy $1,000, but I also did forget bottle on a couple times and did go through $200 worth of gas. My bad, learning a lesson. Fucking learnt my lesson, and we'll move on and we won't do that again. You know, I planned on running it in the truck bed, the turbo in the bed, but that's just a lot of piping for me, and I just didn't want to go to that extent. And I've always loved the look of S10s with the turbo on the passenger side, kind of low. Obviously, I couldn't. I didn't want to do the Cletus thing and run it up high. Not my thing. I wanted to keep it nice and low. I can't go too low, obviously, because you got the front tire, which is right there. I'll kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. You can see lots of room, but not lots of room. This truck, I'm running a Mega Squirt MS3 Pro. Oh no, sorry, a Mega Squirt Gold Box 3 or Gold Box Pro or whatever it's called. I am going to try it and see how it works. The guy I bought the engine from, he had the ECU and it worked fine for him. So I don't see why it wouldn't work fine for me. Like I said, this is only version 1.0. Like I said, this shit blows up. We put some new stuff in it. Maybe we upgrade to a Dominator, because with the Mega Squirt, you're limited on inputs and outputs. And when you're building something like this, there's a lot you need that's not already there in the harness. You know, there's a lot of extra sensors if you're running boost, like dome pressure and wheel speed sensors and there's a lot of stuff that's you really got to watch what you put in there, what you put in, because you're limited to what you can put in and out of the mega squirt. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video.